Starting to the top right, we have the Zerg player for Team AZUBU. The starting player today.
AZUBU Sleep. AZUBU Sleep.
AZUBU Sleep. Not really outstanding record in this matchup. We're going to talk about this in just a second. Let's introduce his opponent first. Starting to the top left of Whirlwind in our PvZ opening. It is
HwangSin.
Let's see what HwangSin can do today. We have not seen him this season just yet. It's actually true for both of these players. Both of them making their first appearance in the Team League in this opening match today. They knew already a couple of days in advance who they would face. They could prepare certain builds for this matchup. And let's see what exactly they're going to pull off.
Yeah, you know, look at this. HwangSin is doing something really weird. He made a pylon on the low ground, which indicates that he's probably going to go ahead and get a Nexus first. Had he wanted to do otherwise, he would have already sent the probe to make the forge. So it's funny because most people don't think this build is really very good in Heartless Swarm anymore. And if he was going to do this, I thought, you know, he was considering a cannoning, but obviously not. Now he's going to start that Nexus, and the Overlord will double check the pylon, so he's very happy you can see that. So now he knows exactly what's happening.
And by the way, the reason why the Overlord just suddenly turned to the right is quite simple. In case you don't know, the sight radius of the Overlord is actually bigger than the pylon. So at this point, HwangSin has no idea where actually Sleep spawns, whereas the Zerg player already knows that his opponent is spawning to the top left. So HwangSin has to scout again. If we would have seen the Overlord, he could already like immediately eliminate the bottom of the map and could say, okay, like it's top right, and then send a probe over at some point. So this is like a pretty good situation here in terms of scouting for Sleep.
As you can see here, the Overlord definitely able to see a lot more. He does actually verify, though, that it's a forge going down, because if it was just a super greedy build where he somehow skipped the forge, or he wanted to cut a cannon for a little bit longer, then he might have wanted to capitalize on that. But he's actually going to send this Overlord also into the main base before there's any anti-air to take him out, so that way he can check for Stargates and other structures in the main once the Cybernetics core is finished.
Yeah, and another reason is also what you already like hinted earlier when you were saying that you thought he might actually go into a cannon opening. If he does not see a Nexus there, then he knows, alright, if he goes for the Forge here, I might get cannon and I need to send a few units down to my expansion because I started with the hatch first into pool and have to double check if there are any cannons going up. So with the scouting information that Sleep just gathered, he knew that he didn't even have to commit any drones to the bottom of his base, to the natural.
Yeah. We have an interesting case here with the gas for Sleep. He has 100, but he has not started metabolic boost. And it looks like he's going to delay it a little bit here. I don't think he's going for a fast layer, but, you know, the more he waits, the more it seems likely.
Yeah, he's currently actually has like a lot of minerals here, and he could go for the tech. You're absolutely right, but he goes for the third base instead. Pretty normal opening so far in terms of the bases that he takes. Maybe a little bit late even. Usually against a Forge opening, you take your base around the 4-minute mark, so if you look at it, it's nearly a minute late.
Yeah. Kind of weird, because, you know, you mine 100 gas to get the speed, and then you stop, and then you get your hatchery first, and it kind of negates. You get the hatchery slower, and you get your speed slower. It's kind of a middle ground there, but you don't get either of them extremely optimally, so maybe he was just in the mindset of getting speed because he's so used to playing against Gateway Expanse, and then he's like, oh wait, actually I don't need this right away. I need the base faster. Regardless, not too big of a setback for him, but definitely not the most optimal way of transitioning into this.
Yeah. I mean, he's going for the speed now, so that will definitely give him a little bit of safety if there is a move out. The Overlord already moving in and seeing the Stargate. In terms of gathering information, Sleep is definitely doing a great job. He has the Overlords exactly where they're supposed to be. He saw the tech, he saw the base early, so he can base all of those decisions on knowing exactly what his opponent is going to do. A Zergling at the third base already positioned to find out if there's an early third. So all these things are really well thought out by Sleep and are absolutely spot on. Only the timing that we had here for the third base and for the speed was maybe a little bit off.
Yeah. Double evolution chambers going up here, going to upgrade heavy. And the Phoenixes, he did see the Stargate, right?
Yeah, he saw the Stargate.
He just hasn't seen whether it was a Phoenix or not, but he will find that out very soon. He even goes in here to check very thoroughly. Yeah, he's really wanting to know what it is.
Very meticulous about it, and I actually like it like quite a lot. He sees the Chrono Boost now as well, and moves in with the Overlord once more. And at that time we have...
Huh? A pause, yeah. I think they both pressed pause at the same time, so one unpaused, and then, of course, repaused.
Yeah, he's still at 300 APM, I think, so probably... Can it be a sound issue? I think that would be a little bit too late to be a sound issue. Maybe something with the FPS that he has here. I don't really think that it's going to be an hotkey issue for him.
He's like,
it's a bit too late already.
I thought they took Void Rays out of this game. Like, this is too strong.
I doubt that's it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe he had a question about the map. This is one of those things where you're like, if it was sound, he probably would have had that earlier. If it was a keyboard, it was a hotkey issue, probably would have had that earlier. I'm actually thinking it's hotkeys because he just made a Void Ray, and maybe he has Void Ray set to something different, and he's like, wait a minute, this isn't right, I need to pause. But
this is, by the way, our admin that you just saw to the left, the very handsome.
You could tell because
fella.
he's handsome.
Yeah, he's very handsome.
And there's the AZUBU coach looking a little bit stressed, actually.
I mean, the timing for the pause is not the worst thing in the world here. It's not in the middle of the fight or anything like it, so it's just at the beginning when the two build orders are starting to unfold here, like come to terms. So they're just going to talk a little bit and making sure that both of the players are ready to go. It might actually be an issue.
Every now and then,
not necessarily with the map, but like I'm not quite sure what the tech guy is actually doing in the booth of the Zerg player right now, since the Soul player actually paused the game.
He might just be giving them the update of why there was a pause. I don't have the observing PC, so I can't see what they said in chat, if there wasn't any chat at all. Sometimes, you know, the wrong map is hosted by mistake because two maps have the same name and one has different stats. Like, maybe they accidentally hosted that new PTR map or something, and he's looking at the stats, and he's like, wait a minute, this isn't right. I doubt it, but we'll get an update pretty soon as we know. It looks like everything's back to normal. And it's just deforming the coach. I have a scratch in his head here, like we are.
Well, they at least know what's going on.
Yeah, I think so now.
We don't know yet. We will probably get the update as soon as the admin was able to talk to the production here. But right now, what we have is, of course, in the opening game, the Stargate opening that we saw here for the Protoss player, for HwangSin. He's going into the Phoenix opening. We didn't see any Spore Crawlers just yet, but Sleep has the scouting information. He's on 3 base currently. He went for the double evolution chamber and can now at any time get the Spore Crawlers and Extra Queens in the picture.
You know, he may even skip the Spores because he saw the Void Ray. So now he's probably thinking, oh, he's doing that Void Ray build where he takes the 3rd base. So that's the last thing that we saw is the Void Ray the Overlord saw the Void Ray being built, and then there was a pause. So the headsets are going back on, which is usually a good indicator that we're going to get back into the game. Gonna make sure it doesn't mess with their hair. And maybe we're not.
Right, maybe not, since we are now back in camera. We still have no information what's happening there, so really sorry, guys. I guess as soon as we have an update, we will be able to tell you, but right now we have no idea. It looked a little bit like they had something to discuss here. So apparently it was a hotkey setting problem, and the team is currently HwangSin is getting a warning right now.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. As soon as I saw him build the Void Ray, then he paused. I was like, hotkeys. But we talked about this like 1,000 times. If you're the first player, how do you not have your hotkeys set up properly?
I don't know. Like, the game is going to be continued, so HwangSin currently having a penalty, and, well, we're going to find out what exactly is going to happen from now on. They are starting up StarCraft.
I think they're resuming from replay over there, which means that we probably would be if I had my observing PC today. But look at that.
Like what?
Anyways, I think it's just one of those strange things where you don't have your hotkey sub. But HwangSin looked nervous in the booth. I mean, it was almost like he was in prayer or something, like in utter meditation in his booth before the game started, just sitting there like this with his eyes closed.
Not setting your hotkeys up is going to a soccer match and forgetting to tie your shoes.
Yeah,
it's like the same thing, I feel. So it's a little bit weird.
You didn't bring your shorts? What?
Huh?
It's like you didn't bring your shorts? What? You know?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, we'll bring some, but like seriously, next time. All right, here we go.
All right, so back to business here. 12 drones actually is the reaction to the Void Rays, which is pretty smart considering he has a fast 3rd. And he knows that HwangSin is going to be taking a fast 3rd of this Void Ray. 3 gateways, though, being added first, so he might actually try to hit a timing here.
He did not know about the Void Ray.
Are you sure? I thought the Overlord saw it for sure while it was building. He never saw it completely?
I'm not sure if he really saw it. Like,
well, now he does, but...
Yeah, now he knows. He knows it's a Stargate opening. He saw the Forest Phoenix. He went in with the Overlord. He might have seen it as well. But right now we have him going into the lair tag at the 8-minute mark. The double upgrades here for ground, actually. and at the same time he's getting those extra queens that I was talking about a little bit earlier, so he can really work quite well against the air units of his opponent. So far no spawn crawlers for him, but just droning up heavily. He knows that the only aggression that can come up against him is now coming from there.
This is so strange. He went 1 Phoenix, 1 Void Raid, 1 Oracle, and then he's making now a second Void Raid. I wonder what the Oracle's role is actually going to be here. Probably for a little bit of harass and scouting. It can also be a great Zergling deterrent. Like in this case, I don't think he wants to burn that energy for it, but I guess he might have to. That's strange to me though, because Queens usually in this matchup can deal with Oracles quite easily.
Yeah, especially when the Oracle could be used for a detection. So
yeah.
It's kind of the only thing that I could really come up with at this point. He has only the Forge here for all cannons, he doesn't have a Robo, but maybe he wants to have extra detection.
I mean, the Oracle's great anti-Zergling, as we're going to see here. I mean, it does a ton of damage to Zerglings so fast, but so do Zealots, you know. It's not like its only role is to kill Zerglings, but I guess it can be quite useful for that. Could also reveal the Zerglings as they run away, and then he'll know exactly where they are at all times. So that's something he could also use the Oracle for. We haven't seen Oracles used too much in this matchup, actually, except sometimes in late game.
I mean, even the detection thing doesn't make, like, too much sense. Like, is there going to be a Burrow upgrade right now? If there was a timing, yes, maybe, but for anything else, I mean, it doesn't make too much sense. So far, the Oracle actually didn't do a whole lot. I think it's just to have something at the wall in case there's a very aggressive opening. Keep in mind, he didn't scout too much, so before the Phoenix came out, he had not really a lot of information. So maybe the Void Rays just in case there's a Roach attack at the Oracle to help out if there are Zerglings in the downstream.
I'm really curious to see how he's going to use it in the late game, or how things go transitioning even into the mid game here.
Or maybe the hotkey problem was that he actually like pressed it by accident.
Yeah,
didn't realize.
Ferris, he didn't actually find out. Well, Queen's going to work here on the rocks with some Zerglings. Quick work of those rocks. Rocks didn't stand a chance. You know what's interesting? He's going double Forge, and it's Swarm Host that he's up against, so that Oracle may come very much in handy against the Swarm Host. And with the Spire coming up here, it looks like we're going to see that Corruptor, Swarm Host, Snipey kill the, kill the Colossus, kill the Observer style.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to see. No, but I like that we have a lot more low-cost in the game and Swarm Hosts. It was one of the builds that also Solki used in his matches against Rain. I was very surprised to see how Solki dismantled his opponent there. It was pretty surprising. I thought that Rain would put up a bit more of a fight there.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Well, to be quite fair, Rain made a lot of mistakes that were avoidable. Where I was really surprised that he made them in the first place. I didn't expect it. I thought he would like absolutely untypical mistakes for him. But being as a Mei, Solki also one of those players who relied on the Swarm Host, so we see that a little bit more popping up against Protoss once again. And the Swarm Host alone will already give him a lot of safety here. He has a couple of them already in the game. He can now just work against all this aggression that's coming at him. But there's another attempted attack on the third, and there are no units over here, so the Zerglings to the rescue.
Zerglings to the rescue, +2 attack is not done yet for those Zealots. And a few Banelings here, actually, going to help clean up house. I don't think he's really going to be able to attack into the Swarm Host, though. I think the Swarm Host totally blindsided him at first. Now he's trying to get the second robotics up. He needs Colossus production. But when it comes to who's really leading the pace of the game, it's definitely Sleep right now.
He's also not using the Oracle for detection. I think it's still alive, but he's going for the robotics, and the Oracle was at no point with the army here. He's waiting. Yeah, the Oracle is still part of his army, but he doesn't use it for detection or anything, so he has no chance of approaching those Swarm Hosts. He's waiting for the Observers here. He might actually not even realize that he has that Oracle right now. I think it's still hovering at the third base.
Yeah, this is a nice little Spine Crawler wall that was not quite ready. With good force fields here, he may be able to actually snipe the hatchery, but there's too many queens, I think. Is he really going to get this? He's transmuting so much. Spines are finishing here. I think this may be a mistake to try to kill the hatchery here.
Well, he's going to get the hatch, but at what cost? Now the Locusts are moving in, and he's going to lose a few of those sentries as well.
That was close. We called the wrong Nexus, though, and that Oracle is not helping out now. Very late to the party to start to attack. Even Probe's fighting here, and that Nexus is totally gone.
Yeah, that Nexus is going to die. Oh, and he could get so many of the probes as well. Oh god, he's nearly taking all of them down. That was a really great attack, but with another aggression also in the main base at the top right of Sleep, but the War Prism is whopped in a couple of Zealots, and immediately the Zerglings are trying to take them down, but there's not a lot of ground army. Spine Crawlers going down. Corruptors can only look, not touch.
Yeah, you know, this is a very... Both these guys are really at each other's throats, going right into the main base, going for run-bys. No direct confrontations. so many queens. Your queens, of course, great at also picking off observers when you go for this Swarmo style. Also transfuses on any type of unit, including your corruptors. Wow, queens though lacking some upgrades here. And you know, at first I was thinking that with all his probes, HwangSin is in a terrible spot. He's still not in a good one, but he still has a decent probe count. He's at 56 right now. And his army composition is the right one. He just needs some sort of way to deal with the corruptors, and maybe that's going to be Storm. He has the Archive, but no Templar.
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't like his position here, just in general. I mean, the opening was very shaky. There was just no... I mean, there was no clear line, like, visible idea what he was doing. He went into Phoenix, but he used... I mean, what was the Phoenix for example? Just selling the idea, okay, listen, I'm building Phoenixes. It was definitely not only a scouting issue since he used hallucinations. Then he gets the Void Ray, can apply a bit of pressure, but the Oracle doesn't make sense. He doesn't even use it for detection later on. It was just there, I guess, to guide that third a little bit or guard it. And didn't make too much sense. I feel these resources would have been spent otherwise much better. And at this point, the creep split alone that we currently have for Sleep is crazy against a Protoss player. I usually don't see that all too often.
Yeah. The Zerglings are ready, poised for a run-by here. The Swarm hosts have been relocated, so we can send faster Locusts.
Turtle Toss incoming.
Here we go, Fleet Beacon, second Stargate, and I like how he set up his defenses. He has enough units for the Locusts. He was most of his army to the north, but against the Zerglings he has just a few Zealots and Archons, which are going to be the AoE he needs to defend against the Ling run-by. This is not going to happen. Well, you know, he may barely get a few Zealots in, but no, he's too slow.
Nah, he's too slow, and he didn't even use Corruption, but he could have used it at any time with those Corruptors, so that would not be an issue. But now he has to defend at the front, and we have a few Void Rays here, but he needs more, and I think his long-term idea is to get 10% in the picture that they can zone out his opponent. But right now, he's just trying to apply pressure, and the problem for him is going to be to deal with the Swarm hosts.
Yep, here's that Archon I was telling you about earlier. It looks like it's just barely enough to clean up those Lings.
19 kills.
You know, you leave just a few Zealots and one Archon over there, or two Archons, and it's going to clean up house. The question for me is, did +3 finish for the Protoss army, or did he lose that forge? Which forge?
2-2 if I'm not mistaken. I think he does, so yeah, 2-2 currently the upgrade for him. But we have no double Stargate is done, and he's building a couple of Void Rays. He has still that army on in the game. We have Sleep with a massive bank on the other hand, and usually what you want to do as a Protoss player is getting this big army and then just attack and overwhelm your opponent. If you get to 200 supply, your army is usually stronger than the Zerg player. But right now, HwangSin is pressured way too much. We have Locusts at the front, sniping buildings, going for the core. At the same time, the Colossi are always in a predicament. If they move out of bounds once, then they're immediately sniped by those Corruptors. And this is just a really dire situation that we have here for HwangSin.
Yeah. Zealots warping in here. The Roach is not with the best upgrades to handle those Lings coming in. He will actually be able to easily focus down that Nexus. I don't actually know if HwangSin can save this. I don't think he can save the space. And if he tries to, then he's going to lose ground to here. Again, the Swarm hosts are getting even closer. He may actually try to go for the race here.
At the same time, I want to see more bases for Sleep. He's at 5,000 minerals, and there's no reason not to get a couple of additional bases and guard them with Spines and Spores. You want to have a huge bank so that you can remax, but you don't need 5,000 minerals in a position where you're only one base ahead. If the Protoss player gets in, snipes a base, calls back, you are starting to be in trouble. So getting a few additional bases would definitely be a nice safety measure here by the Zerg player.
Run by here in the main, that charged up Void Ray, not going to do anything but tickle the Zerglings. The Roach, on the other hand, don't want to face him, but no point in time for the past 5 minutes has HwangSin looked like he's in control of this game. Yeah. He's trying to avoid the Zerg's army, but he's always losing ground.
An issue is, though, that the worker supply is currently at 83 for Sleep, and if he does not build Spines and Spores and just uses a few of the workers, his army supply is going to stay at 115. And that is exactly the army supply that we currently see for HwangSin. And if he is going up to 200 supply, he will have the stronger army.
He's not getting anything done there with all those Spines. Nice defensive measure here by Sleep.
And they are the Tempest that we were talking about earlier to zone out the Zerg player. So currently the Zerg is in a really good spot, but if he gets this army up, then he might be able to bounce back into this game and have the superior army composition. It's just a matter of economy that is currently holding him back.
What is he doing here with this army in the middle of the match? What is he hoping to achieve? He's losing.
Oh my god, he's getting flanked here. That's what he's doing. And he's losing so many of those Colossi before the Stalkers can blink forward and try to guard them. But he doesn't even care. He doesn't even use Corruption. He's just moving in and snipes everything in his path.
As soon as the Void Rays charge up, he had second thoughts, but otherwise he was looking fine against this. And
he could have killed those easily. He had so many, but he didn't even use Corruption.
Exactly. Look at the bank. I mean, we're approaching, 10,000 minerals in total here with almost 4,000 gas. And the bank for HwangSin just isn't there. He has enough economy to remax a few more times, but after that, he's going to be begging for money on the streets. That's how poor he's going to be, because this base over here to the left side of the map is being forced to cancel again by a Ling run by. The multitasking here from Sleep, just quite frankly, is much better in this game.
He's zoning him out completely. He's using those almost every single time to learn to one side of the map and attacks the other. One Tempest is not going to be enough. Oh, he lets it live for some reason. And the one thing that really surprises me is the lack of corruption that we see from Sleep. He could have sniped so many things already earlier. Could have taken down the 2 Colossi and the additional Void Rays. Now he misses to take down the Tempest, and that can get iffy. But he has a great economy here, and that's what he can use. I mean, at this point, he is nearly 100 supply ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, all these run-bys really starting to take their toll. Another repositioning here of the Swarmos right behind the spines, making it just safe enough. Archon's being more for it now. He's trying to get more Teller, but he's down to 36 probes. And this army that you see right here is the last one we're probably going to see from HwangSin in this game.
3-3 is also on the way, and here come those, once again, sniping the Tempest. The drop is on the way. But bottom right, the 4th base, or the 5th base that is currently attempted to be gold by the Zerg player was attacked. Not taken out though, the Spine Crawlers finish and take down the Zealot.
Yeah, and trying to catch here, but I don't think it's going to be enough to turn the tides. Army supply is still relatively close, like you said, but he doesn't have any more army to build. He can only make a few more Archons, and Swarmhosts, their Locust cost nothing.
He also lost his 4th base and is not able to rebuild it. There's even an Overlord spreading through the location. And he's just going for it. He knows that he will probably not be able to really bounce back into this game. He has to do some damage right now and at least take down that 5th base, if not a bit more than that. But we have so many of those scrubbers. 18 are moving in, but now they're going for it, sniping over and over again.
The Archons here, the sniping, he's making the fight for most of it. He's third-stepping his Archons, but he should be leaving those there and start-stepping everything else. Now it's too late because the Locusts are there. Those 2 probes are, contemplating actually fleeing, joining the other army.
Link's in the Bane base now as well, and the Protoss player is just looking a little bit lost at this point. He really wants to take down that 5th base, but he can't get a proper angle, and we still have the Swarm Host in a position where they can put the Locusts in. Moving actually to the top right now and exposing that 5th a bit, but the Zerg player is well aware where the Protoss is positioned and is just always making sure that he is in his path.
Even the way that he splits his Swarm Host so that the Locusts come out really in a nice little concave there.
HwangSin is just fighting a losing battle at this point, and he knows it. He's a little bit desperate. He's really trying to do what he can, but there's only so much that you can do in his position. And with Ling run bys into your main base, I mean, the very fact that they are able to get in there over and over again already shows what kind of situation we have here.
Yeah, Probes going down. He barely has any gas left there anyways, but he's going to have even less. Burrow is being researched here. Greater Spire is almost ready. How many Broodlords is he going to be able to make with that? Maybe like infinity.
I mean, there was a wall at some point at the Protoss player as natural, but it was taken out by the Locusts and he never really rebuilt it, so now he has no chance to prevent those Zergling run-bys, and they always put him in a situation where he needs to walk in additional Zealots, and that's not what he wants to do back at home. Whereas in the middle of the map, he's just running away from Locusts the entire time. 3 is nearly completed since the armor upgrade is about to be done, and I mean, Sleep is dominating him right now.
Yeah. 3-3-2. Soon to have third Carapace upgrade completed at 3-3. That Colossus is going nowhere fast. Zealot's not going to be able to break through that Spineclaw wall. Well, maybe they do, but they're going to be killed right afterwards by the rest of the Zerg army, and there's just so much bank here. As soon as the Zerg army dies once, you make 3 more armies.
That's 22 Corruptors now in the game, so he can actually just easily go for a lot of Broodlords if he wants to, and that's exactly what he's going to do. 8 of them are currently morphing. We still have Locusts, as you can see, he's going to town at the natural. And look at this bank. I mean, he is maxed out in upgrades nearly. He is a 200 supply, and he still has 5,000 gas and about to have 5,000 units as well.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
He's dominating this game.
Sleep's APM is constantly dropping down to like 90, probably scratching his nose, and like, yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I mean, his Locusts are going to work on the tech. This army is all that's really left of HwangSin's hopes and scam. I think when he sees those brutes, he's just going to type out. What else can he hope to achieve here?
He does not have the resources to just go for a counter here. He does not have the area of effect that he needs to go up against Locusts. If you are going up against Locusts, you need either Colossi or you want to have Storm. One of the two. You want to have both, actually. So in this situation, he has neither. He only relies on Archons, and Archons alone are just not going to do the trick here.
Yeah, they're not going to get past those Broodlings. They're not going to... Maybe he gets underneath these Broodlords. Maybe. But it doesn't even look like it.
Maybe he takes down the Broodlords, but you know, he's going to lose units in the process, and he can't afford afford it. Sleep can afford that 10 times over.
Yeah. Broodlings here just going to town on the Zealots, and the Locusts are just continuing to come through here. Looks like he's finally going to get this Nexus, not as if it's mining anyways, but he's just doing so much damage here, and Sleep, he's already won the game.
Sleep has done what I mentioned earlier. He took additional bases. He did not only rely on the 4 that he had, so even if there's now another one taken out, he can always rely on the others that he has. His income is pretty good at this point. He's going for Nidus, he's placing down additional spying crawlers. He's leaving nothing up to chance.
He has 3-3-3, so he could almost remax approaches if he wants to. And
Stutter stepping with the Brood Lords.
I mean, it's just there's not enough anti-air here. No matter how much the AoE, no matter how many Templar he has, it's just not happening.
We have 50 army supply against 140 at this point, and it is just not gonna happen.
Any unit that gets near those Brood Lords is going to get vaporized here.
The problem is not even the army side, it's the composition that we have.
He can't get in, and if he does get in, the Brood Lords just turn around and kite. Because there's so many Broodlings, the Stalkers cannot walk, they can only blink. And as soon as they blink, they're blinking into, we're talking probably 50 Broodlings in there, maybe even more.
Reinforcing.